de babão.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Yeet!
Yeet! Kicking off a new week. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday to you. Hopefully the weather is okay where you're at. We're a little overcast here in Sacktown. Man, I'm starting to sound old. Kicking off a show with the weather. I mean, I'm trying to find the positive here for us. And it doesn't get much easier today. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder rolling into town. This is the best team the Kings have faced all year, hands down. And they are not even healthy. They are without Chet Holmgren. Will you get Malik Monk back tonight? We will see. He is questionable officially coming into this one. Good news, no Alex Caruso against the Thunder tonight. We'll talk more about the matchup here in a little bit. It is a holiday week. Is it a getaway week for you? What's going on? Thanksgiving this Thursday. You've got some football going on. We have football tonight. How about the Ravens and the Chargers? Which way you going there? I know Cody's going to be invested in that game. The Harbaugh Bowl again. Yes, the Harbaugh Bowl. The chat lines are up and running, so get up in the chat. Want to hear from you today. Also, you can call the show. As always, QR code on the screen. We have a busy day on If You Don't Like That, kicking off the first of 5 shows. Yes, 5 shows. You got Grant coming back at 4 o'clock today for an open forum show. He's going to be talking some NFL, certainly a heavy dose of Kings as well. The Kings under 500 now, 8-9 on the season. We've got a ton of audio from Mike Brown. We've also got audio from Foxy and DeMar DeRozan. How about Jordy Fernandez's return to the Golden One Center? Pretty damn good return, if you ask me. He's got that team playing hard. A Brooklyn team that's pretty much in a rebuild. I have an update, by the way, on the Thanksgiving pizza. We do have an update on that. We'll get to it in a little bit. Will there be a suspension for Mike Brown? Not being talked about a lot here in town, but it looked like to me he made contact with the official last night. He was lucky he didn't get thrown out for that, by the way. Fred VanVleet had a rant at an official over the weekend. He put his finger right in the official's face. I don't know if he made contact or not. Couldn't really see from the TV angle, but he was fined $50,000 for that. So as I come to air, I had not seen anything from the NBA on Mike Brown. It's getting pretty close to game time for them to drop anything. I think at the very least, you're probably going to see a little bit of a fine there. Also, we've got a couple of write-ups. So we'll get into those. So we're kicking it off strong for you this week. Want to hear from you again. Thanks for being here on the Kings Court. We've got full coverage tonight of the Kings and the Thunder starting. Ooh, I almost dropped my pen. I never want to drop this pen. I'm so used to having it in my hands when I'm talking. We got full coverage of the Kings and the Thunder for you tonight. So just getting going. Hopefully it's a getaway week for everybody here, getting some time off, spending time with family. You know, Wednesday before Thanksgiving is like the biggest bar night, I believe, of the year. It's when all the college kids are home. They hit the bars. So bunch of parents out there probably excited to have their kids coming home from school, yada, yada, yada. Liam, he is on break until 2025. By the way, we are here 2 p.m. through 2025. So you don't have to worry about the time changing. 2 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We will be right here with you unless the Kings have an early road game. And by the way, the Kings now kick off a stretch of their schedule that is very home heavy. They're going to have a lot of home games from now through the end of December, including 3 matchups with the Los Angeles Lakers in about 9 to 10 days. So a lot going on with them. Hard schedule coming home. We'll digest last night, get your thoughts on last night as well. We are brought to you by Bennett's. Make sure if you are thinking about dining out this Thanksgiving, go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. They've got you covered. They're going to be open Thanksgiving Day. Also, it might not be too late to put in your pre-orders for your Thanksgiving fresh-made dinners by Bennett's. Yes, they do the work. You pick it up, you take it home. Hell, you don't even have to tell your family that Bennett's cooked it. If you want to pull a Seinfeld and just put it on some platters, act like you've been slaving in the kitchen all day, get the apron, maybe go get some flour from the pantry, rub it all over the front of your apron. And as soon as they come in, you're wiping your forehead. Oh, man, I've been in the kitchen all day. Look at it. Do it. I'm not judging you because the food is that good. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. See that much more. All 3 of their locations in the greater Sacramento area. Thanks to them for sponsoring today's show. Like I said, want to hear from you. We have got a lot to talk about from last night. Last night's post-game show, we hit on a number of topics, and I said something that I stand by. The Kings bench right now is closer to a G League bench than it is an NBA bench. It's a pretty strong take, but it's accurate. They are bad. Look at the minutes played, 247 minutes from your bench. Mike Brown doesn't trust him. Mike Brown's hands are tied. He doesn't have a go-to rotation, which is something that has lingered during his era, his time here in Sacramento. How does that get fixed? We'll see. Look, there's a lot of pundits out there. There's a ton of different places. Oh, the Kings are in the trade market early and getting thousands of views on YouTube for BS reporting like that comes from people making stuff up in little side notes and paid newsletters that have no credibility. Look, when we hear something, we'll tell you. Are the Kings looking? Certainly. Are the Kings always looking? Is every NBA team obviously looking? Certainly. But, the Kings aren't going to panic quite yet. You still have a solid core. I just don't think you're getting the most out of that core. And that's evident by the way this team starts. Look at their starts to games. We've now had 3 quarters where they've scored 15, 15, and 12 in the past few games. It's inconsistency. It's what it is. So want to hear from you. Like I said, we've already got calls waiting. Who's going to be the first one? I bet it's going to be Corn Dog. It is Corn Dog. Corn Dog, what's up, dude? This guy's going to want to talk college football. Happy Monday, buddy.
Happy Monday, but Kings are coming off of a tough one.
Yes, indeed they are. A very tough one.
Been a tough stretch, really,
Yes.
with a lot of the injuries that they've had. Fox has done his best to carry the offensive load. It just hasn't been enough from the rest of the group.
This is the All-NBA version of Fox. This is the best version of De'Aaron Fox that you've seen in the last 10 days. Agreed.
Yeah, like he's played absolutely fantastic, 60, 40, it doesn't matter. 30, he's gonna hit it. And he's done his best. We've played some really good teams. We got a really good team up next. It's really good young team with the Thunder, but we might be able to pull this one out at home. But it's not looking good. Like we just haven't been the same when Monk's gone.
I would argue this team has not been the same the entire season. Monk has not played as great as we think of Malik Monk when he's at his best. He's played well at times, but he's struggled as well. There's just, to me, there's fundamental problems with the system, the spacing. You have different, look, how many times, Corn Dog, do you think about this really quick? You watch college football a lot.
Yeah.
You recruit players to fit your system, right? You recruit players to fit your system. Well, in pro sports, you try to do the same, but you don't always get what you want, right? You get DeMar DeRozan in here, you get your draft pick, and then maybe you're going after some other guys. Doesn't work out. Maybe trades don't go through. Maybe there's a falling out. Sasha decides, I'm not going to play in the NBA anymore, right? And so in college, it's different than pro sports. And in pro sports, to me, when you have your hands a little bit tied, you can't just sit there and say, we're going to keep doing the same thing. It's going to work out. Shots are going to fall, even though my hands are tied behind my back. No, you got to be proactive. And the Kings, if anything, have been reactive this entire season, man.
Yeah, the only time the only team that we've played that we've actually played great against both times was Phoenix. Other than that, any team that we've played twice, it's been different sides of the story. The Raptors, we played bad when we were there, but we got the win when it was home. Lots of other teams like the Jazz, we've done pretty okay against. I wish we'd done better because the Jazz are like one of the bottom
the worst in the West. Yeah,
but like against the Clippers, and we just looked bad. The Spurs owned us. Like the Lakers, we didn't look hot. T-Wolves we've been close, but just not there.
The only game that I can point to this season, because I went last night, I sat down, I thought about it, I looked through the games again. The only game that I can point to where a team came out and targeted the Kings in their areas of weakness was really Toronto. Other than that, every team has just taken what the Kings have given them. It's really been that. They're not coming out and doing anything special. They're just coming out, finding some rhythm, shooting some threes, taking what the Kings give them with open looks off of doubles, and the rest is history. DeMar DeRozan talked about it last night, about how, they've just got to pay more attention to detail because coaches put in a couple of set plays to start the game. Well, I'm not sure why that's news. The Kings have been doing that for multiple games, but I guess this is more a byproduct of teams, the Kings beating the Kings, and the teams just jumping on board on that. I just don't see other teams that are coming out and dominating us because they're that much better.
No, talent gap wise, they're just not that much better than us, but it's a lot of execution on our end that
100%
hasn't been there. It's just we got a good engine, but we've got a lot of crud in there. We haven't been taking care of it as much, so it's not performing up to what it could be.
Amen, dude. All right, what's the college recap? Alabama goes down.
One.
Oh my gosh. How about the Texas AMU player that dropped the ball in quadruple overtime right there in the end zone? I felt awful for that guy.
Oh, I mean, you're in how many overtimes and your playoff spot may be on the line. Like, talk about the ultimate pressure right there. You're on the road.
Man.
And mind you, Nick Saban said on College Game Day that Jordan-Hare Stadium's haunted.
That place,
his Alabama teams have lost at that place. He said that place is haunted.
Well, we're going to see the Iron Bowl this week, but oh man. And then Auburn. Look, I get that rushing the field, corn dog, it's fun to do if you're a college student. It's like one of those things that you think about with going to college football games when you're in school. It's already kind of dangerous. Let's not do it when the lights are out. What is Auburn thinking?
I don't know, but I know a lot of people have been complaining that we've had too many field rushes this year. We have had a lot, but I will say there were a couple that were very warranted, and the one at the top of the list is the Vandy one. That was their biggest win in program history. They deserve that one. Auburn, all they did was just maybe keep their bowl chances alive. Yeah, it was a quadruple overtime win, but I don't think that one was warranted. Oregon, Ohio State, I would say was warranted, as that's the 1-2 matchup, and it's still the 1-2 matchup if it was played today. That one I feel like was a warranted field storming because it was the B teams to play.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the rest of these field stormings, like ASU, BYU maybe, but they stormed early. They ruined it. Like they just didn't know what to do.
The band's on the field.
Yeah,
the field.
No, I have like 2 field stormings really that were very warranted.
It is becoming a little bit too much now. Like we're storming the fields because somebody misses 2 free throws, right? And oh yes, free cookies or pizza. Like it's becoming to be a little bit too much. But college football, it's coming down to it, man. Ohio State got a big win against Indiana. Indiana still could find their way back into the playoff. They win.
Well, they got a lot of help from the SEC.
They sure as hell did, man.
They talk about just a choke job from the quote unquote toughest and best conference, which I still think overall that it is the best conference overall. But all that huffing and puffing about how all their teams deserve to, like, oh, we need 6 teams in here because they're all 2 lost. Well, they can't even beat a bad Florida team, a bad Auburn team, and a bad Oklahoma team.
Yep. So hey, really quick, before I cut you loose, where are you at with the Heisman? You think Travis Hunter's still the favorite, even though Colorado lost?
Maybe, but wins and losses does count for a lot. And Colorado could lose another one down this stretch, and Boise State could end up with just that one loss to Oregon. That Boise State team is really good, and Boise State might get a bye too in this playoff with the Big 12 also kind of collapsing.
Yeah, it's funny. Boise has had a couple of trap games, and they've played their way through them. Wyoming, they have a really good third down defense. Their defense is stiff and going to Laramie. Trust me, I used to go to Laramie, Wyoming for basketball games. Oh, there's nothing there, dude. It is the creepiest little quaint country, little wide open city town I've ever seen. Like, we used to joke around because we'd play 2-game road trips. So we'd play Colorado State, and then we would go to Laramie for the second half, and we wouldn't even stay in Laramie. We would stay at Colorado State in Colorado Springs. We would bus to Laramie the day of the game, stay at like this little motel from like 10 a.m. to, I don't know, it was like 3-4 in the afternoon, check out, and then we'd hit the arena, and then it was back to Colorado State in Colorado Springs. That's how bad Laramie was.
Oh yeah, I bet. Wyoming, known for its high population.
Oh my gosh! All right, dude. Thanks for kicking us off today. Appreciate you.
All right, man, and congratulations, Beavers, for winning the Pac-2.
The Pac-2.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Now they get a bye into the playoff.
I don't know, man. I don't know how this Pac-2 works, man. We're learning.
Good stuff. All right, good job, Corn Dog. Yeah, and really quick, I appreciate Sac State. I do appreciate Sac State. I appreciate the Sac-12, everything that they have put together in a short period of time. But can we take a step back? Same thing I've been saying and others have saying, Sac State is nowhere near ready for the Pac-12. I don't care if you get a new stadium. You are still not ready for the Pac-12. It is a big question mark. It would be a big jump, even the Mountain West from where they're at now. But they are on their way. They are trying to grow their program. I respect the hell out of it. It's just football programs are not something that you can throw gasoline on and make them grow overnight. Same thing with basketball programs in college. It has to happen organically. Now, you can do the little things. You can stoke the fire by building a new stadium. You can start playing harder games. You can make the jump to FBS, all that stuff. But making the jump from where they are, FCS to FBS, and trying to go to the Pac-12, not going to happen. So, but UC Davis knocked off Sac State for those that are involved in following those two teams in the Causeway. Dorian, your team, Dorian, dude, they were injured all year. Credit to them for fighting in Sac State. But UC Davis wins the Causeway on that one. We've got plenty more coming. We're going back to the phones. I love talking to this guy about basketball. Dirk, what's up? Dirk, you there?
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, man. Yeah, I was an observer yesterday. Decided not to call because I wouldn't have anything good to say. But first, I just want to start with the bench.
Yeah,
I don't think the bench has ever been deep. It's always been Malik Monk, and as a creator, a guy who could, average 15 points. We're losing that guy. Clearly, our bench is going to take a hit. But I think we're underselling his impact when he gets going. I think he was learning his place with DeRozan, just like everyone else was before he got hurt. He started to come along. I think he had 122-point game, if I recall. But he was the guy, either he had it going, and even when his shot wasn't going, he was making plays for other people and creating on offense. And I think that will have a big impact on this team whenever he does come back. But let's remember Davion Mitchell. I mean, he was under constant criticism of how he could not, quote unquote, run the offense. Right. So it's not as though we were better, if you will, with him, or that bench was not under criticism then as well. It's just, I think Malik Monk masked some of those problems. It's honestly too bad Sasha didn't come over this year because he would have seen a lot more consistent play and maybe found a bit more rhythm. I don't know his true motivations for getting out of Dodge, but
yeah,
regardless, you know, I have a wild thought here. I know a lot of people like the idea of moving Herter out of the starting lineup, which I'm about. I don't think you're going to see a lot of productivity from him off the bench, because when DeRozan was out, when Sabonis was out, he didn't produce for you. He's not able to get his own shot. Some games he shows you that mid-range, you get in there and make a bucket, but if there's any length to your defense against him, he's not going to produce for you. I'm pretty confident he's just not a good fit. But I want to throw this at you. What if we took Herter out of this starting lineup and put in Trey Lyles? But then you need to give Alex Len some consistent minutes at the backup center spot.
Wait, you want to put Trey Lyles in for Herter?
Well, I want to shift everyone down from DeRozan goes to the 2, Keegan at the 3. I'm just trying to think out. We got to work with our existing assets, right?
Right.
So when is Trey Lyles at his best? When I'm thinking of Trey Lyles, I'm thinking the corner 3. I'm thinking sometimes he catches a sneaky offensive rebound putback and he takes charges. If Trey Lyles can take a 3, Sabonis can get down on the block, which is the big challenge, I think, of why Sabonis can't take more outside shots.
Yeah.
If people are really looking for that Sabonis to take more threes or shoot some more at range, you need somebody reliably down low who can rebound. And I think Keegan, the combination of Keegan and Lyles, could probably adequately provide a good amount of rebounding for you. Now, this is just for a different look. I do like Keon in the starting lineup. I think we need to see that consistently. But just as maybe something outside the box that we are not thinking about with our current roster is pairing Sabonis and Lyles and seeing what that could do. Am I off base here? Does this make any sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but Mike Brown would have to completely change the concepts around the offense, because if you take Herter out of the starting lineup, your spacing is going to be a nightmare, because Trey Lyles is not a slasher. And really, DeMar DeRozan's not a slasher. Keegan Murray's trying his best to be a slasher. Foxy's the one that's creating plays. Domas, not a slasher. So you take Kevin off, then who's going to be cutting? Who's going to be going backdoor? That's all going to be really on it's going to be on Keegan. And I just don't see it working. And then you'll have a nightmare when it comes to defending on the perimeter. Just an absolute nightmare. And so for me, that's why I think Keon makes all the sense in the world, because offensively, the points you made about what Trey does well, what Kevin does well, if you rebalance that second unit, and I get that you're not going to have wholesale substitutions, Dirk, but when you have Kevin Herter, think about Kevin Herter on the floor with Trey Lyles, with Sabonis as well, and Malik Monk. That is a perfectly balanced second unit, because you're always going to have Sabonis, DeMar, Foxy on the court. That gives the teams a completely different look when it comes to pick and roll, because we've talked about this, you and I, many times, that Monk and Domas have a great chemistry with the pick and roll. I think it's one of the best in the NBA. And the way that you can open other guys up with the pick and roll going is in the corners. And that's where Lyles and Herter can make a living. And you're going to spread the defense out. You're going to either compact them, or you're going to spread them. And that will give the Kings so much more punch. And then having Ellis in the starting lineup, that allows De'Aaron to go off of the strong guard, the one guard, whoever that is, lets him kind of be that guy that roams, makes the decision on hedging, helping, sagging off. And offensively, you're already capped out, Dirk. It's going to, if you put Keon into the starting lineup for Kevin, all it's going to do is give Keegan more shots. And I think that will result in Keegan getting into a little bit more of a flow. And then if Keon gets the ball, he can shoot the three. He's been shooting the three ball well, but there's no ask for him to create. There's no ask to get him involved in the offense. And you can have defense that then creates offense, which the Kings did really well the second half of last year.
Well, I mean, the premise of Keon creating, I don't see it.
You don't need it.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, you don't need that though. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I wanted to see Keon do more of what he does effectively. I wanted to see him have more minutes. I don't think Keegan's 3-point shot is going to be anywhere close to year one ever again. I think he's too overworked. Perhaps his shot itself is, for somehow steeped in his own muscular, frame or something, whereas opposed to an alternative person who might be able to lift weights and get stronger and not have their shooting impacted. I think Keegan putting on muscle, probably the worst thing for a shot. Overall, as a basketball player, he's improved. But we need a radical shift or at least a different look for the offense aside from the DHO. I don't think we have the people for it. Where, to me, if you're playing dribble handoff, and I don't have an example in mind, but like as an approach, a guy who has a high release point, who's larger than the average guy height-wise, whose shot can be unaffected by just having a little distance between him and his defender because his shot's nearly unblockable. Kevin Huerter's not that guy, and his shot is wildly inconsistent. He's so streaky regardless. Something's got to change. We talk about chemistry. It always seems to be between like two guys on the floor at one time.
Right.
It's not. There's more people there that need to get involved. Like, what is, Domas has chemistry with DeRozan. I think we saw that at the start of the year. Malik Monk and Sabonis. I'm sorry, I did say DeRozan. So Sabonis, DeRozan, Sabonis, Malik have chemistry. De'Aaron can just do what he needs to do at any time. I think his chemistry with others works better when maybe Sabonis isn't on the floor. I'm just trying to work out this puzzle, but I don't feel like there's just a lot of good solutions. I think we're looking at a team that, unless Malik comes back and adds just like so much value, I think we're looking at going for a play-in spot. And it's not going to be, it's probably going to be that 10 spot unless something changes dramatically.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Dirk. I've got a lot to say about that as well. So I'm going to get into it. We're going to hear from Coach Brown. Thanks for the call, brother.
Later.
All right. Good job by Dirk there. Okay. Let's talk about this really quick. He brings up a very, very good point about what's the solution for this team. We're going to talk about last night, by the way. What's the solution for the team? Here's what I can tell you the solution is not. You are asking, if you look at, now that we have a 17-game sample size, we've got 17 games under our belt, and the Kings are 1 game under 500. I can tell you the answer is not asking a bunch of finishers. That is one of the flaws of this roster. You look at the teams across the NBA that are having success right now. They're balanced. Look at the Warriors. It's one of the best examples out there. And I could even make the argument that this Warriors team right now is more balanced than they ever were when they were winning championships. That's not a hot take. That's not trying to put something stupid out there. It's not for shock value. They are a much more balanced team. The Warriors that were winning championships had multiple stars. Multiple stars does not always work out in the NBA. You saw that not work out in the first time with Miami when the big three came together. You've seen it not work out in Phoenix. By the way, guys are getting healthy. Ja Morant expected to be back for the Grizzlies. Also, Beal and Durant expected to be back this week as well for them. But multiple stars doesn't always work out. The Warriors now, they've got one star. It's Steph Curry. He's still playing all world, but they have different guys that play all of their specific roles perfectly. Buddy Hield, as much as I hate to give the guy credit, he has now embraced the fact that he is coming off the bench. And he has embraced the fact that, hey, I'm the guy coming off the bench that can just throw it up. I'm the guy that's supposed to let it fly, right? And you could go down the line with that Warriors team. You don't build a basketball team by saying this guy is the first ranked player in the world. This guy is the second ranked player in the world. This guy's the third ranked player in the world, and so on. You build basketball teams off of roles. Grant says it all the time. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and it is. So going back to the Kings, you are asking a team that is predominantly made up of finishers. Kevin Huerter, for the most part, a finisher. Keon Ellis, a finisher. Keegan Murray, a finisher. Trey Lyles, a finisher. Alex Len, a big guy that runs the floor, a finisher. He doesn't create. I could keep going down the entire roster. The only names that aren't going to fall under that finisher column are De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, and DeMar DeRozan. And DeRozan questionably could only be in the finisher column. So you are asking now a bunch of finishers to create. That is the premise of the Kings offense. It is touch the paint and spray the ball. Touch the paint, spray the ball. You have guys that are not equipped. That's not the strong suit of their games. But that is what you are building your offense around. This team is without a true point guard. This team has been without a true point guard for 2 years now, probably 3 years. Mike Brown has not ever had a true point guard on his roster. Maybe Matthew Dellavedova. Delly was a true point guard, but his career was in its twilight. So we're going to continue seeing these same problems until something changes around that. The reason the shot clock gets to, 6, 5, 4, and the Kings are looking to get a shot up at the last second, the reason there's bad turnovers, I wouldn't even call them turnovers. I'd call them giveaways. The reason they're giveaways is because you are asking finishers to create. You have fish that are out of water. Period. End of story. The touch the paint and spray the ball structure, the theory, it works great. It's why many teams in the NBA do that. It's why many teams in the NBA preach that. But you can't continue preaching that, in my opinion, here in Sacramento. It doesn't work. You have you have not enough players on this roster that can realistically create for their teammates enough for their teammates to have impacts on the game while also providing what they need to do scoring. De'Aaron's done it a couple times in the last week and a half, and De'Aaron's game has been the best it has been in probably the last year and a half. This last week and a half of basketball from De'Aaron, incredible. And if we want to talk about Domantas Sabonis as well, Sabonis has regressed this year. Yes, his three-point shot has gotten better. Yes, his mid-range shot has gotten better. His decision-making has gotten worse. His decision-making has gotten slower. He had 6 turnovers last night. He's averaging 3.6 turnovers a game. Now, the troubling part about that to me is the burn rate for Sabonis, the ask of Domantas Sabonis in terms of facilitating the offense this year is much lower than it has been in past years. So there's a lot of things about what the Kings are doing offensively, just from a system approach, that I think have to be looked at again. And Coach Brown seems unwilling to budge off of that. It is the formula to him. Here's Coach Brown after last night's game.
We told our guys, we can't stop short with your hands down and let them shoot the basketball. They hit 3 threes in the first quarter because we didn't do our job or do what we're supposed to do against a hot shooter. And we have to get better at that. And when they hit those threes, when those guys hit those threes, the whole team felt comfortable. And there was no sense of urgency by us to get to anybody else. They saw the ball go in a handful of times in that first quarter, and then they rolled from there from the three-point line. But, to give up 13 made threes the way we did in the first half, that's tough to live with. It's tough to.
Of course it's tough to live with, but we're used to living with it now. So I ask all you, what is the problem? Why do teams come in here and shoot the three ball so damn well? Granted, Brooklyn, 7th in the NBA in three-point percentage, one of the only things that they do particularly well on average. Offensive rebounding wasn't one of them. They were near the bottom of the league in offensive rebounding, yet they got multiple opportunities last night. Coach Brown continued. By the way, Coach Brown was out-coached last night. And it's not the first time this year. Not the first time by a long shot.
Somehow, some way, we have to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. You can't let a team come in here and turn you over the way we did with some of the passes we made. It takes away from your ability to get a shot attempt, and it gives them the advantage going the other way in transition. And, I thought we had a lot of that a couple of nights ago at the Clippers. So somehow, some way, we got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. And,
really quick. And Dirk, you know what's even worse about that is they give up the 3rd or 4th most attempts per game in the NBA. That's what's even worse about it. Okay. Did I just hear Coach Brown say somehow, some way, we've got to take care of the ball better? Somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. Interesting. Coach Brown, again, after the game.
Very well from the free throw line to start the season. And, it was a 1.5 possession game down the stretch, and we missed 11 free throws. So, you look at the free throw line, you look at our turnovers and the points off our turnovers that we gave up, and our inability to guard the three the way we're supposed to in the first half, and it ends up in a loss. So tough, but.
And it's the script that we've seen in Kings losses, not just this season, but in Kings losses last year to bad teams. The turnovers are up because you are asking finishers to create. That is why the turnovers are up. I can live with turnovers being up when you are playing strong defensive teams, and they are taking the ball from you and you are attacking them. I can't live with it when you are playing teams that aren't doing anything special on defense. Now, give credit where credit is due. Jordi Fernandez coached an excellent game last game. Last night, Jordi Fernandez was excellent. He was all over Sabonis after the second dribble when Sabonis' back was turned to the basket. Also, he called timely timeouts for important possessions down the stretch. Jordy knew exactly what the Kings were going to do, and that team was ready for it. But it feels like we are focusing on all the wrong things. The Kings have been turning the ball over a lot for 2 years now. Now, the Kings are either really good in the turnover category or they're really bad. There's never usually anything in the middle. Last night, you look at the assist to turnover ratio for the Kings, 21 assists, 16 turnovers. That is a really bad assist to turnover ratio. Yes, you have to make a shot to get an assist. I understand that. But for Mike Brown to put last night's game strictly on free throw shooting, and yes, it was not as good as normal, I think you are ignoring some of the bigger elephants in the room, like pace, like offensive rebounding. You're 26th in the NBA right now in offensive rebounding. 26th. And that was a core principle. That was a point of emphasis coming in to this season. Offensive rebounds this season are down 16.3%. Now, free throw attempts are up 11.7%. Made free throws up 20.8%. The Kings are spectacular from the mid-range. They're second in the NBA. Second, 58.2%. Attempts, they're okay. 13th in the NBA. Could be better. When you are a team that is clearly geared towards more of a structured style of play, when you look at the Kings' overall statistics for the year, and you look at how strong they are inside the arc versus how weak they have been outside the arc, you have to play more towards your strengths. Just because the NBA is a three-point league does not mean that you can't still win games in this league by centering your game around the two. You absolutely can. The games the Kings have won this season have shown that. Coach Brown again after last night's game.
Yeah, these guys got a lot of freedom out there to do what they want to do, and the reality of it is Domas is an all-star level player, DeMar is an all-star level player, and so if those guys feel that they have an advantage, then I'm not going to hold them back. We got to take an advantage wherever we see or feel, whenever we see one, or feel that we have an advantage, because good shots are hard to come by. So I would not say that those guys were in his way. We obviously want Foxy to stay aggressive though too.
I don't propose to have all the answers. I don't propose to have any of the answers. The things that I am trying to point out are simple observations. That if you know the game of basketball, if you study the game of basketball, that you would point out. Here's what I know. This team has too much freedom. Way too much freedom offensively. That is what's hurting this team. They need more structure. Period. End of story. They need more structure. That doesn't mean they need more coaching. They need more structure, because you can't let it fly. In past years, the Kings could let it fly. You know why? Because their pace was through the roof. This year, their pace is 17th in the NBA. Meaning, you're not going to... The idea of let it fly is based on playing fast. The let it fly mentality is we're going to play faster than you, which means we are going to take more shots than our opponent. So since we're going to shoot more, we're going to get more shots. Well, those things aren't happening. You're not getting the second opportunities. You're not playing at a high pace. So you've got to look at things a little bit different. Coach Brown.
I thought it was Keon. I thought he got hit And I thought Kobe got hit going to the rim. And, I just want to show our guys that, hey, we all need to fight. I'm going to try to fight. You guys try to fight and see if we can find a way to get ourselves back into the game. And, we're going to go down. We're going to go down swinging.
Mike, this is another fourth quarter.
And that was on what happened last night. Credit to Fox 40 here. My guy Sean Cunningham always does a great job for them. That was the moment where Coach Brown went down and he tracked that official down. I thought Coach was going to flop him over. He seemed to, and I'll ask you guys in the chat, I'll ask y'all, do you think he made contact? Because when I looked at it again, especially, again, credit to Sean Cunningham for getting this on camera and getting it at the angle he did, it looks like Coach Brown makes contact with the official. If Coach Brown made contact to the official or with the official, that's going to be a substantial fine and or a suspension. I have not seen anything, but I've also been doing this show right now, so I have not checked my phone. So I'll look at that to see if anything comes down from the NBA. Usually a punishment would come down before the next game, but it being a back-to-back, maybe it will come after. I don't know. What I do know is you have a very good Oklahoma City team rolling into town tonight. I appreciate Coach Brown trying to get the guys fired up. I appreciate the sentiment there. But unfortunately, sometimes in basketball, there's something called fake hustle, right? Fake hustle, which is trying to get a steal and flying by, which then gives the advantage to the defense or to the offense and puts your other teammates in a bad position. Now, if you get the steal, you're a hero, right? You're going to the other end. You're dunking the ball. To me, this is, and I get it, you got to stand up for your guys. This is the equivalent of fake hustle. Doing this, getting this technical, trying to fire your team up because Mike Brown, because of Monty McNair, let's be real about it, and this is only through 17 games. I'm not trying to paint a bleak picture about this team. This team is still, can be very good. I still think this team will find its way into a play-in or playoff spot. Things need to be tweaked a little bit. Period. End of story. But Coach Brown does not have any bite behind his bark. What's the recourse for somebody that's not playing well? You can't pull him out. Who are you going to put in? And who's that on? That's on Monty McNair. Dirk talked about the bench not being very good for a couple of years. I've seen it in the chat. The bench has struggled for a couple of years. I said it earlier in the show, and I'll say it again. This bench is closer to a G League bench than it is an NBA bench. And I mean that with all due respect. The reason I say that is Doug McDermott, closer to the end of his career than the beginning of his career. Jordan McLaughlin, a fringe NBA player. It's on rosters, does not get a lot of minutes, did not play last night. Coach's decision. Orlando Robinson, he's a young guy. He's also playing in the G League right now. Trey Lyles has not been playing particularly great. Keon Ellis, G League guy, who has worked his way to a spot with this team and earned a spot on this team. He brings something to this team that this team needs. Talking about filling a team out, that's your defensive guy. That's your hustle guy. That's your guy that does the little things and loves doing them. That's what Keon Ellis is. Keon Ellis, and I hate to draw this comparison. But Keon Ellis is your pseudo Doug Christie. They are not anyway similar in terms of their games, but their roles are very similar. Keon Ellis, think of him as that Doug Christie role that Doug Christie was to the starting five back in 2001, 2002. If Doug was open, he took a shot. If there was a line or an opening to drive, Doug drove it. But Doug was out there for the defense, for the hustle. That's what you need with Keon, and that's what Keon is. So Keon is a good piece. Colby Jones, second-round draft pick. He spent more time in Stockton than he has with the Kings. Coach has given him some run the past couple games because Colby has been playing well in Stockton. He has. But the NBA is different. So I just went down your entire bench right now. And I understand Malik Monk was not playing last night. Malik Monk changes things. But the bench that the Kings have had without Malik Monk has been closer to a G League team than it has an NBA bench. Trey Lyles is doing a lot of the stuff that Scal does in Stockton. And no, Scal is not coming up to Sacramento. Scal has been an incredible asset for that Stockton team. Love Scal. Love his professionalism. But the way Trey Lyles has been playing, it's closer to getting a role like that in the G League, like Scal has, than it has the NBA. And I appreciate what Trey is doing defensively. I do. But you have guys that are not multifaceted coming off this bench. You have specialists. You have finishers. I mean, how many true, quote-unquote, basketball players are on this team? De'Aaron Fox, for sure. DeMar DeRozan, for sure. Sabonis, for sure. Keegan Murray, debatable. Rookie year, you could have said 3-point specialist. Last year, offense dropped off a little bit, but his game's growing. He's being asked to do more defensively. He's definitely a defensive specialist. He's the leader of this defense, hands down. He's the heartbeat of the Kings defense. Outside of that, this roster has specialists. In the offense you are running, the drive, get to the paint, spray the ball. You got to have basketball players to run that offense. Coach Brown again.
Yeah, I thought DeMar got to his spots, and the shot didn't go down. I thought we had some wide open threes in the fourth quarter, and they didn't go down. And I don't know if it's because we're getting tired by then or what. But off the top of my head, I'm okay with thinking back. I'm okay with our shot selection that we had. We just hopefully sooner than later we'll start making them in the.
Hopefully we'll start making them. This is not a wait around team. This is a right now team. DeMar DeRozan is a right now kind of player. He's at the end of his career. You only have a year and a half left of De'Aaron Fox. You've got a year and a half left to Keegan Murray. It's a right now team. They've got to make some adjustments, in my opinion. And again, not trying to paint this completely bleak picture, but this team has to begin making some adjustments. So want to get to your comments. Also want to get to your calls as well. We've got plenty more to talk about besides the Kings. Love all the interaction, by the way, on the channel. Really appreciate that. This is the first of 5 shows today. We are going at it hard. Grant's going to be here at 4 o'clock doing his open forum show, talking NFL. We'll talk some NFL here in a few minutes. We will also be taking your calls, questions all night, because we've got pregame for the Kings and the Thunder tonight, beginning at 6:15. And then Jerry Reynolds joins the show at halftime to talk the first half. And after the game, we will be doing post game. And oh boy, in between, if you got a chance, get to Bennett's for happy hour. One of the best, one of my favorite places here in the greater Sacramento area. That is the West Side Grill on screen their newest location out of the three, Rockland, the Blue Oaks Town Center, also locations in Roseville and off of Howe and Fair Oaks. Happy hour 2 to 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday. They've got prime cuts of seafood and steak. If you're a wine person, 60 different wines by the glass. And what I particularly love about Bennett's is all their different specials that they do throughout the week, the weekends. Like weekend, you have prime rib. You also have weekend brunch. They've got a mimosa and entree special for under $50. Tonight, wine and dine Monday nights. You can get a bottle of wine, 2 entrees for under $70. But what's on everybody's mind? Yes, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday. Bennett's will be open for Thanksgiving. If you're thinking about dining out, go to bennettsrestaurants.com. You can make your reservation. You can also look at all the specials. You can look at their menus as well, and you can put in your pre-orders for family meals to go on Thanksgiving. You let them do the work. You enjoy all the spoils. Do me a favor, get to bennettsrestaurants.com. I promise you will not regret it. And thank you to everybody that has been going into Bennett's and letting them know that you heard about them here on If You Don't Like That. Brian, Margot, the entire team there has been giving us tremendous feedback. So appreciate everybody's support. And really, I have not heard a bad word from anybody that has gone into Bennett's. Everybody has pretty much loved it. Dennis takes advantage of their happy hour all the time. I took the NBA guru, Zach, to Bennett's. Yes, I did do that. Owed him. Mr. Moss has a trip to Bennett's coming up on me here in a little bit. So anyways, I want to get to a quick ride. So for those that don't know, sometimes we do ridos around here on Mondays. What those are moments that made me go, don't, this weekend, or something I saw during the week that I thought needed a little addressing, needed a little attention. And here's one of my ridos from this weekend. It really made me go, it was this. You know, I was so looking forward to having this Tuesday with some of my friends, our quote unquote Friendsgiving, because we're all in different cities. We're doing it digitally, which I'm sure many of you have had to navigate as well. But they found this delicious looking, I mean, scrumptious looking, my mouth's watering right now thinking about it, frozen Thanksgiving pizza. And man, was I excited this weekend to go out and find that pizza at a store here in the greater Sacramento and Elk Grove area. I went to one store. I went to 2 stores. I went to 3 stores. None of them had the Thanksgiving pizza. I was in shock. Like, I almost wanted to hit my knees and start crying right there in the aisle that I wasn't going to get to be a part of an incredible sounding meal with some of my best friends. I mean, what sounds better than deep dish crust, frozen turkey, gravy, green beans, cranberries, and stuffing, all on top of a pizza, and not even a fresh pizza, a frozen pizza. My soul is absolutely crushed that I will not be partaking in the Thanksgiving pizza with all of my friends on Tuesday. I mean, how does a store not carry a product like a Thanksgiving pizza? You know why it probably wasn't at the stores? It must have been sold out. It's that popular. I mean, think about it. Aren't all of your mouths watering right now? Thinking about a Thanksgiving pizza? When I think about this pizza, all I hear in my head is because I couldn't find it. So my rido is that I couldn't get my hands on this Thanksgiving pizza. Haunted Horse, Adam, everybody else, I am so sorry from the bottom of my heart. I was so looking forward to partaking in such a delicious, delicious creation. So that is my rido. Yeah, they must be sold out. I don't know. Couldn't find them anywhere. Went to like 3 or 4 stores. In fact, we did the Amazon Fresh Market this weekend with the Amazon cart. Anybody tried that yet? That was really interesting. Doing the smart cart where you put it in the cart, your account recognizes what it is. You take something out, the cart recognizes it as well, recognizes it by the product. And then instead of checking out traditionally, you just go through this line. It's just a area of the store. You just walk straight through it. There's nobody there. It's like, I guess, scan your cart, make sure that you have everything done. Super easy. It was fun. But unfortunately, I couldn't find that damn pizza. My heart was broken that I couldn't find that damn pizza. What am I going to do? Mark says you could buy a French bread pizza and add your turkey toppings. It's not the same, Mark. It's not the same. It won't be the same, man. I'm sorry I won't be a part of that. It just breaks my heart. It really does. One Google search tells me it's a Kroger exclusive. See? Kroger exclusive. Good job, Dirk. You know, I even tried Foods Co., which is the closest thing to a Kroger that we have here in Sacramento. So, man, my heart's broken. Can't you hear how sad I am? I mean, I'm crushed inside. I'm just like, damn. You know, I guess maybe I'll just have like a burger or something while the rest of them are partaking in this delicious sounding pizza. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Hey, Kyle, I appreciate the offer, brother. I would hate to put you through that trouble. Kyle, thank you for the offer, but no, that is way too much to ask. You know, shipping would be way too expensive. Definitely not worth it. Kyle, thank you. Thank you. But I could not accept that. So, you know, if you can get your hands on one, you should keep it for yourself, you know, definitely. But thank you for the offer. Rhino is bewildered and distraught. Yeah, I'm so distraught. I'm so upset that I'm not going to be eating a Thanksgiving pizza. No, you know what I'm really thinking? This is what I'm thinking.
Great success.
Yes, great success. I get to watch all my friends eat one of the most disgusting creations that anybody has ever come out with, and I don't have to eat it. So thank you, Kroger, for making it and exclusive. Amazon Fresh is different. Yeah, it's cool. It is cool. More like put it in the cart and send him to the toilet. Hey, as far as I know, you are part of that group, Adam, that's partaking in this pizza. So, you know, I hope that it's okay. Yeah. Did you see the tear? It was really, really upsetting, Mark. Very upsetting. Let's talk some other things from this weekend that I want to hit really quick. What about the NFL this weekend? The NFL week 12 in the books. By the way, Liam went 4-7, 4-8. Oh man, he had a rough week. We'll see how Haunted Horse did with his picks. We've got the horsing around with the NFL segment on Friday where my 10-year-old son Liam does his recorded picks. He does not watch football. The week before, he went 7-6. This week, he had a little bit. He took it on the chin a little bit, but it was a hard week for him. But what is going on in the NFL? How about Saquon Barkley? Is this dude just got the ultimate, just in your face? This guy finally finally has an offensive line that can block for him. And he's putting up incredible numbers, and he looks like he is having a great time doing it. And this Philadelphia Eagles team, I'm not all in on the Eagles, but they have won 7 games in a row. I wonder, have the Eagles maybe, just maybe, hit their stride a little bit early? We'll see. Who knows? But for the time being, I'm thinking, what? Someone in Sacramento drive one to Elk Grove. Dude, they're not in Sacramento. I'm crushed, horse. I can't have any. I'm so sad, dude. I did my due diligence. I checked the end caps too. There is no pizza here in Sacramento. Yeah, I got you, Riley. Or I got you, Al. So anyway, Saquon Barkley. Incredible stuff. Happy for the kid. You saw everything chronicled on Hard Knocks, right? They did in Hard Knocks off season with the Giants. And he actually followed through with his word. He went back to the Giants. He just ended up taking more money. He did what he said. His agent went back to the Giants and said, this is what we can get. He could have just signed with the Giants or signed with the Eagles and been done with it, but he didn't. And as for the Giants, let's talk about the Giants for a second. Can you blame Malik Neighbors for his frustration? And how about Danny Dimes? Danny Dimes asks for his release after being demoted to the 4th string quarterback, and he gets it. And now Danny Dimes is looking to sign with a contender for the rest of the season with a check already in hand for $22 million? Malik Neighbors has played hard for this Giants team this year. And my man Malik, he was not happy after last night's game or after yesterday's game. And Malik, I'm not happy with you. Here was Malik Neighbors.
Go out there first, second quarter, don't get the ball, start getting targets at the end. I mean, can't do nothing. Start getting the ball when it's 30-0. What you want me to do?
Why in the first half are they not looking at you?
I don't know. Talk to Dave about that. Talk to Dave.
Did you say something to the coaches at halftime?
I mean, they know. They come up to me, ask me what plays I want. That was that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Malik, dude. And by the way, Malik, apparently, Brian Daboll, coach of the Giants, addressed Malik for that rant with the media. Malik, I am so disappointed in you. You did the right thing, my man. Like, you called out your coaches, as you should. You are the best player on that Giants team. By far, you are the only bright spot on that Giants team. And you ruined the moment, Malik. That dude had at least 2 pieces of gum in his mouth, if not a big fat chunk of Bubblicious or Big League Chew. Malik, if you're going to do a rant calling out your coaches, man, you can't be chomping at the gum at the same time. It's not a good look. You said the right things. You did it the wrong way, Malik. So the Giants continue to be in turmoil, which leads me here. 49ers fans, man, has it been a year? Is this the end of this Niners window as we know it? Ironically enough, they are only a game out of the lead in the NFC West. The NFC West is bad and unpredictable. The NFC West that was supposed to be one of the best divisions in football, which is now the NFC North. Incredible division there. But Niners fans, holy crap. I must ask this question, though, Niners fan. And I kind of feel bad for you. First off, before the question, your coach is burnt out. Kyle Shanahan looked like he was done before the season started. He was just mentally, it felt like he was at the end of his rope. Nothing went well in the preseason. But why did you guys have any reason to believe that the second the calendar turned to September and all of a sudden preseason turned into regular season, that the momentum of everything that had built up to that point was going to magically change and you were going to turn back into the best team, the second best team in football that was championship or bust this year? It wasn't going to happen. This thing has just kept building through the Ayuk stuff, and then Ayuk being out of shape. Same thing with Trent Williams. Then the injuries. Debo. The hell's going on with him? And by the way, Kyle, you do know that you still have JP Mason on the bench, a guy that was leading the NFL in rushing for a while. You know, you don't have to play Christian McCaffrey every single snap when you have two bad Achilles. The Niners suffered their worst loss to the Packers, 38-10. Now, granted, it was without Brock Purdy, which I understand. By the way, update on Brock Purdy. He did some light throwing today. They're optimistic that he might be able to continue on the same track as the week goes along. There were no setbacks with the light throwing. So here's my take on the Niners overall. If you get a ticket to the dance, I don't want to see you. In fact, it feels like one of those years that if the Niners get a ticket to the dance, they might just win the whole damn thing. This might be your year, Niner fan. Things aren't breaking right yet, but there is still a lot of football to be played. You are in a bad division, and I'm a Seahawks fan. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals yesterday in Seattle, and I'm telling you, it's a bad division. If you can just get into the dance, anything is possible, because the Niners, when they are right, I have been using this analogy for like a year and a half now. The Niners are the most expensive and nicest, fastest sports car on the market. They've got it all the bells and whistles. But guess what? It is expensive as hell to maintain. And if a little tiny bolt, just a little bolt comes loose, that car's screwed. It runs like crap. Everything has to be perfect. The question is, can you all get back to perfect and get that last playoff spot? Because you're going to have to win the division to get that playoff spot. Let's go back to the phones. Oh, Al, I thought you were trying to call. Al, you getting in here? I think Al is trying to call. I heard him calling in. Al, try to call back if I can get you in. Would love to get you in. By the way, one more quick rido. The New York Post. You're killing me, New York Post. You were one of the last places that had really good columnists. By the way, Phil Mushnick, like him, dislike him, you got to respect the way that he writes columns. You got to respect the way that he reports on stories. Dude sticks to his guns and his morals. I used to be able to get a Phil Mushnick article every week and a half, 2 weeks for free, and that's why I kept reading the New York Post. Now, no more. You have to pay to read Phil Mushnick's article. I'm out. I'm sorry. I love you, Phil. Not paying the New York Post for your article. You screwed yourself, New York Post. You have. I bet you Napes hits on that one too. Let's go to Al really quick. Al, what's up, brother? And Al left. All right. Okay. Al, I am convinced it's not our program because everybody else hasn't had problems calling. I think it's your end. Let's try to get him in here really quick. Al.
Am I back?
There you go, brother. You're on.
You know what? It keeps all of a sudden the Redstream keeps crashing on me. It's probably old guy user error, but real quick, man, congrats to your Seahawks, man. I know it's a bad division. The division winner is going to be the only playoff team. So, big win. You got the dub. My Rams, man, I don't know what happened.
Oh, no. I know what I was going to say. His Rams, he didn't know what happened. They got ran all over. Barkley, 250 yards rushing, might be in the conversation for MVP. First running back MVP since 2013, possibly. Hey, Al, dude, that division's up for grabs. You guys are going to be just fine. I think the Rams, anything is going to happen. Anything could happen in the NFC West. So you are all good, my brother Al. You know what? We'll catch up offline. I feel bad. Al, email me, Al, and I'll try to figure out what your problem is. I figured it out for Jerry Reynolds, so I can probably figure it out for you. So, by the way, again, tonight we've got Kings and Thunder coming up for you. Malik Monk questionable in this one. Second night of a back-to-back for the Kings. Oklahoma City is going to be rested. They're rolling into town with some rest, but they are without Chet Holmgren. Broken hip. He is still out for at least another month and a half, probably longer. Also, no Alex Caruso tonight for the Thunder. The Thunder do have Isaiah Hartenstein, though. Remember, Hartenstein gives the Kings problems on the offensive boards. But here's the positivity that I'm going to shoot your way, because I feel like it's been a little bit of a downer show. Kings are -1 in the 500 column. Team, what's going to happen? The bench isn't good. I want to bring your spirits up. When the Kings play good teams, and this is the best team the Kings have seen all season, usually they rise to the occasion. Now, if you think about the Kings in the Thunder last season, the Kings actually played the Thunder really well, to the point where it was being asked in circles in the NBA, even on the big talk shows in the NBA, if the Kings make it through the play-in, is that the team the Thunder would like to see the least? Yeah, it's Al, Rhino, RYNO, NIN, Sacktown at gmail.com. Rhino in Sacktown at gmail.com. So anyways, the Kings played the Thunder well last year. They matched up well with the Thunder, would have given them much better run than the Pelicans ultimately did. But this is the game to me. If you're going to pull the trigger on a change, it has to start defensively on the perimeter. You need a heavy dose of Keon Ellis tonight on SGA, as well as De'Aaron on SGA. SGA is a throwback. I don't need to tell you everything he does well, because he's a special talent. And the Thunder are arguably one of the best teams in the league, second in the West right now. Second favorite, I believe, to win the NBA championship. But it starts with SGA. He's averaging 26.7 in his career against the Kings. But the perimeter defense, the pick and roll, that is what the Kings have to take away tonight, or at least play very well. Have to play it very well. Communication, physicality, push them off of the spots where they want to start their pick and rolls. Make them start further out. The one weakness that Oklahoma City has, there is one weakness to this team, and it's offensive rebounding. Oklahoma City, believe it or not, on the offensive boards, they are not good at keeping teams, their opponents, off of them. In fact, they are last in the league at keeping their opponents off the offensive boards. So can the Kings tonight finally break through their struggles on the offensive boards? Last night, the Kings had 11 of them, but still not nearly enough. Not nearly what Mike Brown's hoping for this team. And offensive rebounding was an area last year where the Kings really improved. So it's a little surprising. Part of it, and we have to take it with a grain of salt, that the offensive rebounding has not been as good, is because the Kings have gotten to the free throw line more. So that is definitely something you want to do. Get to the free throw line tonight, but can you find a way to snake yourself in there? Domantas Sabonis has given the Thunder problems in the past. The Kings cannot turn the ball over tonight. The Kings need to come out and not beat themselves. All things that we almost say nearly every night, but tonight in particular, look, if you look at the script over the last year and a half of this Kings team and how they play and the losses they have versus the wins that they've earned, this sets up for a game where the Kings will shock us and they'll win. I think the Kings, I'm not going to say they're going to win. I expect a very good performance from this team tonight. I do. A disciplined performance. I expect the turnovers to be better. I expect the motion to be better. I don't expect things to be stagnant, but it really comes down to this. It's the fast breaks in the transition. Can the Kings beat the Thunder on the breaks? Can they push the pace of this game? Can they push SGA off of his lines? More importantly, can this team play physical without fouling? That is the big question. So looking forward to this one tonight, 7 o'clock from the G1C. I'm sure many of you will be going. Some of you will definitely be watching. Don't forget, we've got full coverage of the game right here tonight on If You Don't Like That, starting with the pregame show, 6:15. With yours truly, we will dive way deeper into Kings Thunder now that we have flushed out last night. We've talked about it. No reason to keep going back on it, but we will get you ready for this one, let you know the keys to the game. I just told you one of them. And also, don't forget Jerry Reynolds, halftime. Looking forward to that. And post-game, we wrap it up with your phone calls. But before all that, Mr. Napier himself, the principal of the channel, If You Don't Like That, he'll be here in just over 30 minutes. Just over 30 minutes. Napes will be here 4 o'clock with his open forum show. Make sure you join him for that. Thank you all so much for being here today on the Kings Court. Really, really enjoy your comments. Enjoy the calls. Appreciate your support. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. We would greatly appreciate it. You can scan that QR code right there. And then also make sure you're following me on the X at Ryan_in_Sacktown. You can _in_Sacktown. That will take you to my X account, which will have all the links for the Kings Court podcast. It's not just a live show. You get premium Kings Insider audio that I post in the mornings, usually Kings Court shoot-arounds. So make sure that you're subscribed on Spotify, Apple, wherever you find your podcasts. Totally free. Bet you'll probably like it. We have a good time with that. So thank you all so much for being here again. Appreciate you. Come back, support Grant in just over 30 minutes. He'll be here with an open forum show, 4 p.m. And then again, tonight, full coverage, Kings Thunder right here on If You Don't Like That, beginning at 6:15. Go Kings, light the damn beam. Stay the hell away from Levine. Court is dismissed.